Hi guys, Debbie here. Welcome to my channel and to this video, which is going to be a tag. I don't do tags very often, but I just finished this makeup look and kind of didn't want to take it off just yet and thought I might just film another video. So I've been looking for a tag to do, and this one isn't a new one. It came out a couple of months ago, but it's the beauty consumer tag. It caught my attention when it came out, and then I was like, do I want to film this? Because there's a lot of stuff to omit based on your shopping habits in this one. So, but here goes, I'm going to do it. So there's 13 questions in the tag. Excuse me if I'm looking down occasionally at my phone, because that's where I've got the questions. But question number 1 then. So how much do you spend on makeup a month or a year? That was the question that kind of I was worried to answer, because it is quite a number to admit. Now, probably last year would be worse than I'm going to be this year, because I'm definitely slowing down my makeup purchases based on what I've bought so far this year. But last year probably somewhere between £300 and £400 on average. So we're talking anywhere between £3,500 and £5,000. That's a lot of money, I do know that. And I'd love to blame my YouTube channel for it, but I don't think it's being on YouTube that's made me spend that much. It's watching YouTube and seeing everyone else using the products. Even before I had my channel, I was probably spending between £200 and £300. I probably spent a little bit more, particularly in the last year, catching up with some of the things that I've seen some of my friends using, because I've obviously developed some friendships here on YouTube and seen the products they use, and then I've wanted to buy them. So I think I bought a lot more in the last year, but I'll probably need to buy a lot less now, because I've caught up with a lot of the bigger releases from the past, and I've got a lot of good products in my collection, all the basics, you know, the brushes and the pencils and things like that. So I think it was a huge year in expenditure means for me last year, but hopefully won't be going forward. Okay, number 2 then. Do you ever feel guilty about how much you spend on makeup? Sometimes I do. If I overspend in a month and then we don't have the money for the food shop, which does happen occasionally. It's happened a couple of times, and my husband's had to bail me out, and it's because there's been something that I've wanted to get, to be able to get the video up on my channel so that people can see it. And then quite honestly, I've not filmed with it in time to do that, or it's got to me much later than other people. So I'm definitely going to stop chasing those releases and doing that, because I have put myself in a position where I haven't got enough money for things towards the end of the month, which is just dumb. I'm going to stop doing that. So for example, at the moment, there's a couple of things that I really want. There's one coming out 2 days before my payday. I'm going to have to wait until payday. If it's gone, it's gone. I've got to learn that mentality, because I used to, you know, put things on my credit card or use some of the household bills budget to get things so that I could get them to put them on my channel. And I'm not getting the views, you know, I'm a micro, not even micro, is there a word smaller than micro, you know, influencer. So it's just crazy to be doing that. So I'm not going to do that anymore, but that's a lesson I've learned over the past year, really. But yeah, I definitely have felt some guilt when, you know, I've spent more than I should have done. And sometimes that feeling after you buy something and you get this buzz from it, and then when you start to look at your bills and worry about how you're going to pay them, that's not a good feeling. It's not a feeling I want to continue having. So yeah, definitely feel too much guilt sometimes. Okay, number 3, do you get FOMO related to makeup releases? Absolutely. So if it's something that I see everybody else using and I think it's likely to sell out, or it's difficult to get hold of, but I've managed to like get it in my basket, then, you know, I definitely would have FOMO if I didn't get it. And I do look at other people's makeup collections and you know, with an element of sort of envy and wish I had some of the things that they do. But to be quite honest, just lately what I've been trying to do is kind of create a wish list for myself and then see if I still want it a month down the line. And if I'm still thinking about that purchase, then yes, I do want it. So then I can kind of allow myself to buy it. But even then, I'm trying to get things at a discount now and not pay full price for anything. There's so many makeup releases coming out, and I've kind of learned that I don't have to have them all. And you know, what's hot this week is going to be yesterday's news in a week's time as such. And I think it's because it's new and exciting that I want it sometimes, and not because I actually want it in my collection. So I'm analysing that a lot more just lately. But yeah, definitely have had FOMO over releases before. Number 4, do you purchase to keep items simply because they're limited edition? Absolutely. I'm a makeup collector first and foremost before anything else. That's what I am. I've got lots of makeup from the past that was limited edition that I'm very proud and happy to have, and I treasure those items in my collection and I will never declutter them. And I think I'm quite unusual for a YouTuber because I don't do declutters and I don't have a fear of buying limited edition, because I don't buy things specifically for my channel. I'm never going to do that. You know, when I say I'm spending 300 or 400 a month, to me that's a huge amount of money. But when you think how much some of these YouTubers must spend to do a review just about every video that they do, you know, that's just an astronomical amount of money to be spending. So I don't buy things for my channel. I buy things because I really want them in my collection. Not necessarily to use, but because I want to own them. They're a bit of makeup history. So like the Now and Then palette, I think it was called, from Too Faced, the 20-year anniversary palette. I've used that once, I think, but I knew I had to have it because it was a bit of makeup history. Same as some of the limited edition ones from Urban Decay, like the Game of Thrones. Anything with special packaging or that's highly sought after because of the limited amount of numbers, I'm more likely to want it, which I think for most YouTubers, they'll want things that everybody can get so they can show them on their channel. But I think, you know, what I'm trying to show on my channel is more the technique and what you can do with colours, and not so much reviewing the products. So I don't think it matters that I'm using things that are no longer available, because people can still dupe those out with things they have in their own collection and replicate the looks in that way. So I don't feel too much guilt if I'm using something that's no longer available. So yes, definitely I've purchased things because they're a limited edition. Number 5, would you be willing to pay more money for a sold out product online? I must admit I've considered it, but I haven't, because most of the time when I've seen things that have an inflated price, I think to myself how much money somebody else has probably bought that for, and they're making a killing on that. And I just think if you buy into that mentality and go down that route, then you're going to fuel that fire as such. So for example, I wanted the Movida Loca palette, still do to be honest, and I saw that changing hands for £1,000. I mean, that is just absolute insanity for an eyeshadow palette. And I just think, you know, it's despicable that people are selling things for that price, but they wouldn't have a market to do that if people weren't prepared to pay it. And I think it's the consumer that's paying it that's fueling that. That's what I'm trying to say. So I would never do it for that reason. But when I see something that is sold out and I really, really wanted it, for a moment I do consider it, but I never would do it. Okay, number 6, do you wish you could spend more or less? I imagine that means than I currently do on makeup. Well, I'd like to spend less because I can do other things with my money, and that's what I'm aiming towards doing. So I like to travel, I like to buy vinyl, I like clothes as well, and you know, going out to the theatre and cinema and eating, all of those things I like to do. And sometimes because I've made makeup purchases, I have to cut back on other things that I like to do in my life. So definitely I'd like to spend less. I'd like to get a bit more savvy at finding things at a discount. I don't always use people's coupon codes, you know, the affiliate codes and whatnot, so I need to get a bit more savvy with that to save money. But just overall, just buying a lot less and looking at what I've got in my collection so that I'm not spending money unnecessarily, and making sure that what I am buying is adding value. Number 7 then, do you feel compelled to buy something when you see it in someone else's collection? I think I've answered that one already. Yes, absolutely. So sometimes I have no interest in getting something, and then I'll see a video. Normally one of my friends on YouTube will do a video and I'll see the palette and I'll just be like, wow, they've made an amazing look with that, you know, and I'd really love to own that palette. And I had no kind of interest in it until I'd seen what they'd done with it. And I think that's the power of social media and YouTube, is that you see these products in action, and even if they weren't particularly your vibe, when you see what can be done with them, they kind of interest you more. So yeah, absolutely, I am compelled to get things. The more people talk about things on YouTube and they become sort of more and more popularised, and I see more and more reviews on that are positive, and I see that everybody's got it in their collection, then absolutely it's hard to resist, because I want to be part of the makeup community and have the things that other people do. And I think that's just human nature in a way, that we all want to be long and have the things that other people are saying are amazing. So yes, definitely yes for that one. Number 8 then, do you buy more during the holidays? Now, I assume by the holidays people are talking about Christmas and Black Friday, etc., rather than holiday as in summer holiday, because in the UK the holidays are going on holiday, annual leave in the summer, but holidays, I think, in an American kind of way of thinking is the holiday season, Christmas and whatnot. So definitely Black Friday, because I'm a bargain hunter, so I do tend to buy less throughout October and the majority of November, so that I can then splurge, because I want to get the products at a good discount. For example, I bought the Anastasia lip bundle. I've done it 2 years in a row now, where they sell 10 liquid lipsticks that are normally £20 each for £80 for the whole set of 10. So you're saving £12 a lipstick on those and getting to try lots of colours that you perhaps wouldn't do. So absolutely, I do spend more at that time of the year, but not so much on Christmas releases, more so on things that are packaged so you get lots of them at a discount price that I probably would want to buy in any case. So yeah, but I would say I definitely do spend more at that time of year. Right, number 9, have you ever hidden a makeup purchase from family or friends? No. There's no one that really cares what I'm buying in terms of my makeup other than my husband, and he sees everything coming into the house anyway. Or I go up to the parcel shop there, I pick up my Beauty Bay orders, he generally comes with me, or we would see the box in the bin in any case, so there's no point in lying. He knows I've got a YouTube channel, he's going to see the things, on my YouTube channel, or at least, I don't think he watches me anymore, but he will see my thumbnails that I share on my stories or on my Instagram page. So he's not an idiot, he knows these are all different releases, and he knows that makeup is my passion and it's what I love to do. Like, so he never complains about it, so I don't feel like I have to hide anything. And he's quite an enabler in a way. He'll say to me, are you going to buy blah blah, whatever this palette is that I've watched somebody reviewing or whatever, I think this would be really good for you, or it'd be great to show on your channel, or that would really suit you. So no, he's quite encouraging for me to buy these things, so I don't feel the need to hide anything from him. So no is the answer to that one. Right, number 10 then, do you have more than 10 products in your collection you've not used in over a month? I've probably got 200 products in my collection I've not used in over a month, and probably some of them in over a year or 2 or 3 years. So as I say, I don't declutter, so I've got about 180 eyeshadow palettes, so I'm never going to get through all of those, for example, in a month. I probably maybe touch 10 palettes in a month in total when I'm making 3 looks 1 palettes with some of them, so I'm using them multiple days. I don't wear makeup 3 or 4 days of the week actually. Quite often when I'm going to work now, I don't wear makeup because I'm leaving so early. So no, there's going to be lots of products that don't see the light of day, or that kind of languishing at the back of my makeup drawers and I forget about. So I do intend to start doing a bit of a shop my stash and kind of choose for myself some products that are a bit neglected and bring those back into rotation. I think that'd be really good for me, because I tend to stick to the same products again and again that I know that work for me, which must get quite boring for people watching me. And also, I could really do with getting to know different formulas, textures, brands, etc., and not sticking to just what I know and love. So yeah, definitely more than 10, probably more than 100. Yeah, I have way more makeup than one person could ever use in a lifetime, and that's not bragging, that's just reality. It's just what I've gotten into doing because it is my passion. Right, number 12, do you purchase makeup for collector reasons? So this links back into the limited edition question for me. So yes, absolutely, I do collect makeup. and if there's something that's a big release and there's a whole collection of it and it's a brand I really love, I'll probably want to get it all. So for example, the Game of Thrones vault, I mean, that was like such a hunt to get that. It was, I was on a cruise and I was like, I deliberately didn't go out that day so that I could just stalk every website to try and get that, because I knew I wanted it, because I've been an Urban Decay obsessive for 10 years or more. So I didn't want to miss out on that because there hadn't been a collection like that for such a long time from the brand. I just wanted the entire vault. It's a lot better value when you get the whole thing as well, and I got it and I'm just so happy that I did. It's not something I'm going to use very much, I just wanted it in my collection. So yeah, there's so many things that I could talk about like that. A lot of my Urban Decay from the past, a lot of my Kat Von D that you can't get anymore, and it's always packaging that suckers me in and makes me want to buy those collector's pieces. So sometimes it doesn't have to be anything to do with the shades, and a lot more to do with the packaging and the aesthetic of the brand that makes me buy what I buy. So number 13, the last question, in your makeup journey, have you become less or more consumeristic? Well, it depends on what stage of the makeup journey we're talking about. So I would say, if we're talking beginning of my makeup journey, I only had probably 5 eyeshadow palettes and I panned them all and I used them all the time. They were neutrals, they were what I used every single day to wear to work. And as time progressed, I added a few more limited edition pieces to those with a bit more colour in them, and so I started to get a bit more consumeristic because I was chasing these limited editions. Then when I started watching YouTube, that's when I became really consumeristic. Like everything that I saw I wanted. If somebody recommended it and every YouTuber was talking about it, I just had to have it. And this went on for the 2 years leading up to having my channel, really. And then when having my channel, I was still kind of catching up on some of the releases that I couldn't afford to buy because I couldn't get everything, and adding older releases to my collection. But now I feel like I've got such a solid collection with so many products in it that I love. I feel like I'm becoming less consumeristic, and I think the beauty community as a whole, the tide is turning in terms of that, and we're more conscious of what we're buying, and something's got to be really special and add something to our collection. So for me, you know, for a palette to enter my collection now, it's got to be from either a brand and formula that I absolutely love, or packaging that's limited edition, or it's got to add some value. So for example, I've got no multi-chromes, so I want to get some Cleona, like those stained glass window ones, something along those lines, because I know that that will fill a gap in my collection and allow me to do looks that I can't currently do without those. But I've got so many lipsticks now, so many eye pencils, you know, I've built up a solid collection, so I'm becoming less consumeristic and more interested in using the things that I have. But I'm never going to become a panner, because I don't want to be forced to say this is the palette I'm using this month and I need to try and hit pan on it. That would just make me not want to use it. It's like when you tell yourself you're going on a diet, the very sort of essence of that is that you're denying yourself something, so then you just want to eat everything in sight. Well, that's me anyway. So I think, you know, if I felt like I was denied the rest of my collection, I'd feel quite down about that. I like the creativity and the variety of bringing lots of different things in and using all of my collection rather than just you know, parts of it, but trying to use those up. To me, I'm never going to use everything up, but I just want to equally use the things that I've got, if that makes sense. So yes, I've definitely become less consumeristic this year, but I did have a peak. It's kind of gone up and now it's slowly going back down, and I'm quite proud that I'm reining in those purchases and really enjoying them when I do get them. And I think if you buy too much, it becomes less special. So I think I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed at times. I was bringing, say, 10 palettes into my collection that I could never review in time and couldn't even use, you know, for my own personal use really, before they had sort of gone out of style and people weren't talking about them anymore. So yeah, definitely this year I'm going to rein back those purchases, but buy the things that I truly love and that fill that gap in my collection. I quite enjoyed filming this in the end, and it wasn't nearly so scary a thing. I guess the biggest thing to admit was how much money I've spent, but I don't think anyone will be too surprised when they know that you've got a YouTube channel. I think, you know, if you haven't got a YouTube channel, you're probably going to feel the need to spend less. But it's a cautionary tale to tell, you know, when watching YouTube, this is what's got me into buying so much makeup in the first place. So if you're watching this, maybe you shouldn't if you don't want to be spending too much money. But I'm so glad that you did. So thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you're new to my channel and you're not subscribed yet, I'd love to have you. But other than that, I hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.